Hey fam. So, I don't know if y'all have caught up on this yet, but Donald Trump, Elon Musk, and their administration, including people like Russell Vought, who is the director of the Office of Management and Budget, that's the budget making arm of the executive branch, who had that same job in the first Trump administration. The collective plan, he's also a self-described Christian nationalist, but that's another post. Their plan is to make the 2017 Trump tax cuts that went overwhelmingly to the super rich and to big corporations, like 80% of the benefits went to the top 1%, the super rich, as well as big corporations. They're going to make that permanent. That is going to cost $4.7 trillion with a T. It's going to blow a giant, enormous hole in our deficit. In order to fund that, they're going to make you pay for it using tariffs. Donald Trump likes to pretend that he doesn't know that tariffs get paid for by the consumer, but he knows. And you know how we know he knows? Because he's using the tariffs as his scheme to pay for the tax cuts. And the reason he thinks that that will work is because he's clearly been told by people like Russell Vought that at the time America was great, during the late 19th century, the Gilded Age, when the super rich amassed enormous, massive fortunes, massive wealth, tax-free, that America was great, that it was prosperous. This was also the time when America was doing a lot of expansionism, going and grabbing other territories. Donald Trump digs this whole era. He thinks it's a good idea. And he's been convinced that he can have his massive tax cut, and all that has to be done to pay for it is, number one, slash the government. Cut the government down to the bones, down to its dry bones, by firing as many federal workers as possible and privatizing as many government functions as possible. Tommy Tuberville of Alabama and Senator Mike Lee of Utah have introduced a bill that would privatize the TSA, the agency created after 9/11 to secure our airports and make sure that planes aren't blown up by terrorists. They want to privatize that, turn that into a private profit-making function. They want to do that with most of government. They'd love to privatize the Postal Service. They'd love to privatize everything that this federal government does. They're cutting things like USAID, foreign aid, all these functions of government, slashing them, and a lot of those functions benefit the American people. They don't care. They're cutting Medicaid. They've got a $800 billion cut in Medicaid in mind. All of this to try to drive up as much money as possible, selling off parts of our national parks, allowing development in national parks, selling off hundreds of federally owned buildings, including iconic landmark buildings owned by the federal government and run by the Park Service. They want to sell those off, like the Montgomery bus building, where the Montgomery bus boycott was to start selling all that off to try to raise enough money to justify this $4.7 trillion tax cut that's going to blow a hole in our deficit. And the way they think they will get the rest of the money for that, make you pay for it through tariffs, because they know tariffs are paid for by you. It's a giant shift in who pays for the federal government, from the super rich, because they're going to pay less and less and less because they're going to cut their taxes, down to working class regular people paying the bills using tariffs, meaning you pay more for everything you buy. You pay a giant tariff tax on food, on gas, on buying cars, electronics, buying clothes, all these things that you're going to pay the tariffs on. That's how they think they're going to fund the government now instead of income taxes. Because the Gilded Age was a time before there were income taxes. Those didn't come in until 1913. Before there were labor laws, including child labor laws. You see Florida already looking to bring back child labor. You see, it was a time before women had the right to vote, before blacks had full civil rights, before there was the codification of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments through the Voting Rights Act and the Civil Rights Act of 65 and 64. It was a dog-eat-dog world, and they want it back. It was a time before disability laws, you name it. Those things didn't exist. Workers were pretty much at the mercy of their employers back then. They want that world back. And they're getting it back, little by little. And you're going to pay for it. Don't believe me? Listen to Russell Vogt, admitting that this is the plan. And did that during the Madison Square Garden rally prior to the election. Take a listen.
We all say it as a slogan. When was America great? At the turn of the century, our economy was rocking. This is 1900, 125 years ago. We had no income tax. And all we had was tariffs. All we had was tariffs. And we had so much money that we had the greatest businessmen of America get together to try to figure out how to spend it. That's who we were then.
So you got it? We're making America great again. And you're paying the bill. Is that what you voted for? Because that's what you got. Elections have consequences. Really nasty, MAGA consequences. Good luck out there. Be well. Peace.